so let's do this all in one take because I've got nothing to edit with. So, the Pokemon card game, to me, is a very interesting game, and I've been interested in it for a very long time now. And I've been really playing it for about a year online, and I've also played the Game Boy game before that. But I've noticed some things, and that is that a lot of cards just get very similar to each other in terms of how they work or how they appear, and that's really interesting to me. Like, there's examples in the past few years, there's examples all throughout the card game, and I'll be taking a look at some. For example, take a look at this Bill card here, which simply reads draw 2 cards. Just a very simple trainer, and then almost 10 years later with Majestic Dawn, we got Mom's Kindness. This is almost the same card, except with the supporter rule taken into consideration. Then, in 2010 with Heart Gold Soul Silver, we got another Bill card, which is pretty much Mom's Kindness. And this isn't the only example. Let's take a look at another trainer card, Balloonberry. When the Pokemon Balloonberry is attached to retreats, discard Balloonberry instead of discarding energy cards. Now this effect is pretty similar to the Floatstone card we've been getting recently with Plasma Freeze, or here, Breakthrough. And that says the Pokemon this card is attached to has no retreat cost. Now obviously Floatstone is a little bit better and more modernized for the game to make it more reliable, but it's just been getting a lot of other prints, such as the EX Dragon print, the EX Deoxys print, and like I said, with Floatstone, Plasma Freeze, and Breakthrough. So there's a lot of reprinting and similar cards, and you know, these aren't the only examples we speak of. But this makes me wonder, is the Pokemon trading card game just recycled every year? Now like I said, this isn't limited to trainer cards, so let's take a look at some Pokemon cards. Mewtwo EX from Next Destinies. This thing was huge when it was released. X-Ball was a very strong attack, just does 20 damage times the number of energies you attach, and you can attach double colorless to make this even more powerful and stronger. And it's not only your energy, it's also the opponent's energy, so you're gonna do a lot of damage most of the time. Now this X-Ball mechanic was very popular, it was very strong, and the only real counter this thing has was Deoxys from Dark Explorers. But have you noticed recently with Ancient Origins, we got a Lugia print, which was basically the same thing? Aero Ball does 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon. Now that's pretty much the same attack as X-Ball from Mewtwo, from the Next Destinies. Here's Space Center, a Stadium card from, I think that's EX Deoxys. I'm not too good with these set names, but you get the point. Ignore Pokebodies for all basic Pokemon in play. Now this sounds very similar to the Primal Clash Silent Lab from this year, or last year. And the only difference is that Pokebodies and Pokepowers were counted as separate things back in the day, while now we have abilities, which are just everything grouped together. Speaking of Stadium cards, here's an interesting one. Magnetic Storm from EX Hidden Legends, I think, reads any damage done by attacks from both Psychic and Fighting Pokemon is not affected by resistance. Now the effect is similar, but also really different to the Magnetic Storm from Flashfire, which just reads each Pokemon in play has no resistance. So you can see that these cards have the exact same name, but are quite different in effect in a way. Let's take a look at Dark Vileplume from the Rocket set. This thing has an effect that so many Vileplume cards have been getting recently. It reads, no trainer cards can be played, this power stops working while Dark Vileplume is asleep, confused, or paralyzed. Yep, and we got Vileplume EX, Vileplume from, I think that's Unleashed or Undaunted or something, a Vileplume from Ancient Origins. All have a Pokemon power, or Pokemon body, or ability, reading something along the lines of not being able to use trainer cards. And it's just really repetitive, but I guess that's kind of what Vileplume is known for now. Wobbuffet from EX Sandstorm has an ability called Safeguard. You might remember this one if you played a Pokemon trading card game online from back in the Boundaries Crossed Onward standard formats from last year. Safeguard is an ability that prevents your damage from EX Pokemon, so when an EX Pokemon tries to attack Wobbuffet, it's not going to work. However, we've been getting a lot of safeguard Pokemon. Also, note that the one on the right, Wobbuffet from Power Keepers, was a reprint from the Wobbuffet from Sandstorm on the left. Power Keepers was pretty much a set full of reprints. But this is how many safeguard Pokemon we have. There's Wobbuffet, Ninetales, Dugong, freaking Dustox EX, which is an EX itself, so that doesn't make so much sense. And then 3 Sigilyph prints. Oh yeah, also Ninetales has a EX Power Keepers reprint. So this is getting kind of out of hand. And if you think Safeguard was over after Black and White, nope, we got Beautify with Miraculous Scales, which is basically the same effect. It prevents damage from EX Pokemon and other effects. It's just, this time it's harder to play since it's a Stage 2 Pokemon. Here's Jirachi from Plasma Blast. This thing, also pretty good and very well played. It means when you put it down, you can look through your deck for a supporter card and play it. Most likely this was used for draw support, so you'd put down a Jirachi, get your Juniper or N or whatever you prefer, play it, get a new hand. Now, this isn't the same per se, but it's definitely similar to the Shaman EX print we've gotten with Roaring Skies. Setup, very strong. Also, I forgot, I think there was a Yuxi card in like Legends Awakened or something, which did basically the same thing as Shaman EX, so there's another example. But yeah, what else have we got? You know, we're talking about small examples here, but let's look at something very general here. EX cards. Introduced in Ruby and Sapphire, these things were basically stronger Pokemon with a special drawback. If it got knocked out, your opponent would take 2 prize cards instead of 1. Now, this was definitely an interesting mechanic back in the day, but, you know, if you only know the EX Pokemon from today, then this will be a little surprising to you, because it's not a new mechanic. Here are some newer EX cards, which are a little different, but they work in the exact same fashion. Now, if we take a closer look at the Sneasel EX from 2 pages back right here, you can see its beat-up attack. It reads, flip a coin for each heads, for each of your Pokemon in play, including the Sneasel EX. This attack does 20 times the number of heads. Now, this was actually a similar idea to one of the Neo sets. There was a Sneasel card with exactly the same attack for 1 less energy cost, and this thing was banned back in the day. This thing was considered overpowered. And now, in some Heart Gold Soul Silver set, there was another Sneasel print, which was basically the same again, but this time it wasn't so overpowered because times change, and Pokemon cards just keep getting stronger and stronger. Like, the 2 Sneasels have like a 10-year time gap. Alright, and just the examples keep on going. Shuffle your hand into your deck, draw 5 cards. Always viable, so why not reprint it? But you know, these are they're all examples. But let's take a look at some newer mechanics. Chestnut and Marowak Break. Break cards. Interesting, right? They're like sideways, and they are just interesting because you can like level them up from the normal Pokemon. Wait a second, level them up from the normal Pokemon? Are we talking about level X cards here from Diamond and Pearl? What about the design? What about the design? It's just a level EX plus a legend card, and boom, you got a break card. Math! Alright, what about A-Spec? Maybe there's some hope in this? This was interesting. They were very powerful trainer cards that can only be used once per deck. You can only put 1 copy in each deck. Computer Search, very powerful. Thousand Machine, also quite powerful. But, you know, after all, they are just special kind of reprints. However, back in the day, these trainer cards were very powerful, and they still are today, so they wanted to restrict them in a different way. They wanted to bring them back because they were so good. Now, Computer Search is basically a reprint for base set, and Thousand Machine is a reprint from either Item Finder or Junk Arm. It's whatever way you look at it. Now, another recent example are the Ancient Trade cards, which were included in Primal Clash, Roaring Skies, and Ancient Origins. There were a few different types of Ancient Trades. I believe there was about 10, and most of them were very interesting. As you can see, they appear as full arts with a little bit of a colored thingy on the bottom. Medicham, for example, on the left means you can attack twice. Kingdra means you can attack 2 energies. And there's a few other examples. But not all of this is new. Again. Alright, let's take a look at Lugia EX and Natu. Natu's plus ancient trait reads, if your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out from an attack of this Pokemon, take 1 more prize card. This is basically the same as Lugia EX from the Plasma series. But this time it's not an ability but an ancient trait. It's just like a little bit weird and different, but it's pretty much the same thing, in a way. So, you know, it's kind of up to the viewers, up to you guys. Is the Pokemon trading card game just recycled every time? Now, of course, I haven't looked at every example, there's just too much of that. And there's also a lot of new and interesting mechanics that keep on coming. So I'm not saying it's all bad. And you know, the examples don't stop here. I don't have a picture of this, but for example, the Garbodor from, I don't know what it was, Dragon's Vault or something? Dragon's Exalted? Is getting some kind of reprint in the Breakpoint set coming up next month. But you know, these examples keep on coming. There's stadium cards like Parallel City that are just interesting, and new they have diverse effects. But yeah, this is kind of what I wanted to talk about and something that I've noticed. So yeah, peace out.